What is going on, guys? This is Brett with Pop Culture Crisis once again, and I am here with my host, Miracle.
Hi, I is Miracle.
She is very much Miracle. We also have Brian with us again today.
Hey there. How you doing?
That was even better than
Yeah,
the
that
previous
was-
take. And we also have another special guest today, our music specialist here at the castle, Carter Banks.
Hey, how's everyone doing today?
I felt safe calling you Carter Banks because on your social media it lists you as Carter Banks.
I'm just trying to get more publicity than the Family Guy fictional character. So I
Oh
can
yeah,
love
that's
him.
so true. You told me about
Why would
that,
they
and I
do
thought
that?
it was so funny.
We're recording for this is a test. So I wouldn't bring this up because I have a friend who's got extreme TDS, and I love him to death. But he's got extreme TDS, and his name's Jeff Howard, Jeff with a PH. And his whole goal growing up was to become better known than Jeff Howard from The Used.
Jeff with a PH, like
It-
Jeff.
It's not his actual name. It's he's a very famous rollerblader. Like his whole goal was to get bigger than like if you look up Jeff Howard now on YouTube, more things for Jeff Howard the rollerblader come up than Jeff Howard the musician.
Well, I mean, nobody really goes by Jeff Howard the musician when you're in a famous band like The Used.
I know.
You know.
Well, still no, because interviews come up. Like he'll do interviews.
Is Jeff Howard a bassist?
I
Just wondering.
I don't listen to The Used, so
Yeah.
it's not my thing. But we are doing this. This is round 2 because Miracle, get off your phone.
Oh shit, nobody knows.
I know, and that's what matters. Get off your phone, guys. Scold her.
I was using my phone earlier just to
WT fucking
turn it off.
Miracle.
Really.
We're here trying to work, and you're out here just
I'm doing research.
zoomering.
I'm doing research.
What are you doing research on?
Discord research.
You're supposed to be doing that research before the show, not after. I mean, during the show.
I am the new Tim, where I do research during the show.
I didn't know Tim did that.
Yeah,
Right
he
on.
does that sometimes.
Okay, so we're taking round 2 at this because Seamus, interruption Seamus, we'll call him Interruptions Coglin, came up here and interrupted us midstream.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go right back into it. And what do you guys remember? What we were talking about right as he came up? I don't remember.
You're
Magic School
talking
Bus.
about no, not that was what she.
I know.
We're talking about how celebrity gossip is really funny and how you didn't want to talk about rage bait stuff because, like, even though it gets hits, it's not really healthy. You want a wholesome podcast where
Not necessarily wholesome, but I'd like a balance between the two. Like, because some of those topics do, I mean, the topics do interest me, but I also see it as kind of like when I get done reading these articles that I know will do well in segments like this, especially with people that feel strongly about it. I just feel angry, and I don't want to
Yeah.
feel
rage.
You know, and I know that in a lot of ways, it works for both you and the reporters who write them because they're writing it in a lot of ways, not just because it's a lot of times propaganda, but because they know that people who do this stuff, a lot of the YouTubers that people like us follow, will cover this stuff, which gives them free publicity, which is why you should be using archive sites when you. I'm not using
Yeah.
archive sites. I should be ashamed of myself. I'm giving them hits by reading these articles. But
we also talked about be a Zoomer and not use any social medias because it's mentally
Oh yeah,
bad
we
for
were
you.
talking about following and unfollowing people and what that means for the psyche.
yes.
Yeah.
So I think we'll just go right into it because this first one was interesting and it does kind of fit in that realm of what we were talking about. But it is like celebrity gossip, but it's kind of got real world implications. And says Brad Pitt's appeal in custody case denied as she hits Eternals premiere with their kids. So it is further proof that even if you're in the hierarchy of socialization now, women are above rich people. No?
Is that true?
In the progressive stack, women are more usually money trumps all, but apparently money and being a woman trumps being a man with money. At least in
Oh
the
yeah.
I mean, that
if there are two rich people
Yeah.
and one's a woman,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
you want to hear a fun fact about Angelina Jolie that I thought was really wholesome about her? So she lets her kids borrow her clothes to wear them. She never throws away her clothes. She gives it to her daughters to wear.
That's so sweet.
How's that wholesome?
I thought it was wholesome because, like, she's passing down her lovely clothes to her kids who
You
will
could
never
also be like,
famous.
why not buy your kids new clothes?
Do you want to waste that money?
I don't know. She has like 9 kids, I guess. Right?
Does she?
She has a bunch of adopted kids, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes,
2 of
yes.
them are her original. with Brad Pitt.
Let's find out.
Do those kids get new clothes?
I'm sure they all get new clothes.
They get new clothes, but like a wholesome thing, like her daughter. I don't know. She's like the oldest one. She's the one that's been adopted from Africa. Like she was wearing a dress that Angelina Jolie wore like 2 years ago. And they're like, this is cute.
Did she make any of her sons wear dresses?
No, Angelina Jolie doesn't believe that. And
Now that's
her
wholesome.
kids are from Southeast Asia. I don't think they give a shit.
Based.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, this is from Yahoo Entertainment. Taryn Ryder wrote the article. Brad Pitt's appeal regarding his custody case with Angelina Jolie has been denied. The California Supreme Court upheld the appellate court's disqualification of the private judge who previously awarded the actor joint custody. Pitt, 57, and Jolie, 46, have been at odds with their ongoing divorce for more than 5 years now. 5 years. So how about instead of, and I went backwards on my host. How about instead of like giving your kids hand-me-down clothes, you let them see their dad?
Yeah.
You can see him on TV. He's famous.
I didn't know he was. You say 57?
Yep.
Wow. Brad Pitt is almost 60.
Fight Club was a long time ago.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Wait, how does he look like now? Did
Just
he
look
age?
at Benjamin Button.
Oh.
You can see him as 60 there.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say, because Tom Cruise aged into Norman McDonald.
Norman McDonald.
Norm McDonald is a
Norm.
person.
Sorry.
Norman McDonald is not a person.
You know what? I'm making up names now.
I just thought this article was interesting because it divorce and custody is like a thing that you hear about a lot. At least we don't really talk about men's rights activists here, but that's like a thing.
I am
where
a man's rights activist.
Equal rights
Yeah, equal rights, bitch.
and less. It says the custody arrangement of Angelina Jolie's and Brad Pitt's 6 children. Wow. I'm not going to list all their names and ages here. Reverts back to the November 2018 agreement. Their oldest child, Maddox, is 20 and can make his own decisions about how he splits his time. Lately, the kids have been with their mother. Jolie stepped out with Maddox, Zahara, Shiloh, Vivian, and Knox for the Eternals premiere in London on Wednesday night. It's the family's second major appearance in recent weeks. They're pretty great people, and because there's so many of them, I think they've had a significant effect on each other, the actress told People magazine, I'm assuming they mean. It's not like I'm the head of anything. I'm very honest with my kids, and I'm very human with my kids. Jolie added that all 6 kids are individual human beings in my own home. The article is pretty short, but I think it just kind of illustrates that these are issues that even, that's when celebrities go through, we go through them too. But I just thought it was interesting that even Brad Pitt, who's a multimillionaire, is still gonna, not have the same type of, like you said, equal rights.
Yeah.
Even though he can very well provide for his kids, and he clearly wants to be in their life if he's fighting for custody. So I don't know. As somebody who comes from parents who were divorced and separated, I just thought the topic was interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard. Like, divorce is kind of messy, like, for both sides. That's why, like, when yesterday I brought up, like, how Asian people do it. Like, it's not everybody. Bless you. I mean, cough you. But basically, like, I like that idea. It might not be great, but I feel like it's better for kids if you just hold off a little bit. If you really can't stand them, then go ahead with the divorce, but still.
Well, what's worse? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
It's like, well, what's worse though? Like growing up in a home and seeing 2 people that don't love each other.
Well, like how do you know who what's his name? Joe Jitsukawa from Just Kidding Films?
No.
Okay, so they're LA based YouTubers, but basically he talked about this, like his parents divorced when he was like 14. Well, actually his dad walked out when he was 14, but he said like he has personal friends that legit the family dynamic was still loving, but behind closed doors, like not in front of the kids, they would be in separate beds and not talk to each other. So that's what I kind of feel like, if you want to do that as a healthier option for your kids, because like there's a lot of like cases where kids do feel like it was their fault that their parents are not together anymore, and like fighting in front of your kids is not a good thing either sometimes.
Exactly.
But yeah, what about you, Brian? Like, what's your opinion?
So first of all, I think he messed up by going through the California courts. First of all, I mean,
That's a good point.
Those are undeniably biased towards women.
I don't know if it said in here. Did it say California court in here?
Yes.
Well,
It did?
yeah.
Yeah, the
You
appeal.
are.
So you're
Your
trying.
reading comprehension is fantastic.
I'm good.
I
What?
use good.
Anyways, so you're not going to get a fair trial.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. I mean, she was already awarded. So when you go through divorce court and you try to go back for custody, they'll go through most likely a JDR court first
Mhm.
and determine that. And so if you have to appeal, it'll go to a circuit court judge and they'll look at certain aspects of that trial that occurred earlier to determine whether or not the judge in that case made the right ruling. Most of the time, they're going to side with that JDR judge who made the determination on custody.
I might have missed it. What is JDR?
It is, what is it? It's Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court. Yeah, there we go. And every jurisdiction is different, but it's all going to cost the same amount in the end. And so, as a man going through those courts, just be prepared to spend about $60,000, even if you don't have it, to fight for a family that it's not guaranteed you're going to get
Yeah.
back
That's
to
an-
see them again.
That's an interesting thing to even talk about.
Yeah.
Like that's a cost that they can. Brad Pitt can afford to front. Brad Pitt can.
Oh,
afford
even more than that.
to
He can,
pay-
Yeah.
he can afford millions of dollars in
Sure.
lawyers' fees, but the average dad who just wants to see his kids more than once every
Forget about it.
weekend
Yeah.
he can't afford that.
No.
I feel like it almost has nothing to do with money right now anyway, because how many cases do you know where they side with the dad if the mother has done nothing wrong
That
or
is
their
so
mental
true.
health is not in some
Well,
form or fashion fucked up?
Even then, even if she has drug problems
Yeah.
or mental health issues, they don't care.
Right.
So what they'll do is they'll ask for your money. And what I mean by that is the lawyers, because they already know what the outcome's going to be. They don't really care either way. So you'll spend about $300, $350 an hour, front about $12,000 in some sort of fee to reserve them. I can't remember what that's called. It's a retainer fee. That's what it is. And they'll burn through that immediately, going through all the documents of the case, make sure that they know how much money you have, meaning the courts and all the parties involved know how much money you're making to make sure they have the right numbers for child support. And what that really just boils down to is the states have an equation that they use to determine child support. So how much she's making, how much you're making, and then they'll just split it right down the middle, quote unquote, and figure out, all right, this is how much she's paying for the kids and this is how much you're going to pay for the kids. Although she doesn't really need to spend any money on the kids, right? If she has custody, she doesn't need to do anything, right? She's not reporting to any of the courts or guardian ad litems on what she's actually spending on the children. So what it really comes down to is usually the man has to pay child support to the woman. And if he doesn't, well, there's a good chance that he's going to go to jail for that.
Yeah.
So they don't take into account how much money you actually need to pay for, car payments, housing payments, and sometimes you actually have to pay for the children's residence as well. So wherever she's living, you might have to pay that on top of child support and things of that nature. So it's really, really hard for men who make less than $200,000 to $300,000, or even more than that, to just get by, right? Because you could be making $80,000 a year, but really all you're taking home after taxes, after child support, after alimony, and all this other shit that they load on, you might actually be taking home $20,000. Oh, and by the way, you need to pay for a car. You need to pay for your bills, and you need to find a place to live that isn't a cardboard box because you need a mailing address. So then when they serve you more papers to up your child support even more, they'll fucking do that.
That is crazy. Like,
Sorry.
How do you know so much about this?
I
Brian?
wonder. I can't really say, or else I get sued.
It's a little bit too close for home. That's
Oh,
why
okay.
he
Got
can't
it.
talk about it. But also, like, how you brought up about, like, California. Like, California guaranteed they'll always side with the mom, no matter what. There's, like, no ifs, ands, or buts.
unless you're
Unless-
Gavin Newsom
Yeah.
or Cuomo, then they'll side with with the news station. Or who's the one who's getting fired now for Chris Cuomo's getting fired for groping women,
Oh.
but
Is
not,
he really?
Yeah, the audio's not.
but not for killing.
But not for killing.
Oh,
a
you
bunch
mean
of people. Yeah.
Andrew Cuomo.
Yes, Andrew Cuomo. Yes, not Chris.
Drew Cuomo.
That's
Is that from?
He's
Nurse?
only getting misdemeanors.
Something's going on with the audio.
Oh, it's that small commercial right there. Wait, is it you, Brian?
Oh, I apologize. It is me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Something just turned on about contracting.
That's okay. All right, we're gonna roll right through it, guys.
Yep.
Because if we were doing this before, this would be edited. So.
Yeah.
We live?
No, we're not.
No, it's recorded.
But the idea would be to put your phone on mute.
It is on mute. I don't know why it just decided to play YouTube.
Dude, today is not the day.
Today-
Like, it's raining.
We're gonna just go with it because today is
I
definitely
had to
not the
update
day.
my computer for an hour this morning and
Oh,
then
yeah.
install a bunch of drivers and Pro Tools
It's-
had an update.
It's all going wrong. It's all going
iLock
wrong.
had an update.
I can only imagine.
Everyone's got an update today.
So we're gonna get off the depressing topics.
Yes,
and
please.
get on to something that's both depressing and funny. Because
What?
yesterday I was talking about how serial killers bring together the population.
Yeah.
I said, serial killers are equal everyone loved serial killers. When a serial killer kills a woman, he doesn't kill her because she's a woman. He kills him because he kills the woman because it reminds him of his mother.
Mhm.
Okay, everyone can get behind this. It's not woke. It's just how the guy is. Now I'm thinking of other, like, activism's been around forever, but it wasn't always political activism in the sense of left versus right. Sometimes you have these guys. PETA. Who remembers PETA?
Oh,
I do.
sure.
They threw paint at was it celebrities or rich people in general with the fur coats? They
Oh,
like-
Leather, or fat, like chicken fat tar. Yeah, it was like supposed to be like
Yeah.
tarring and feathering.
yeah, but
celebrities.
the most famous one was like they threw red paint on like the fur jackets.
fur jackets are expensive.
They are. They very are.
They're also made of fur,
How expensive?
like really expensive.
It
In
depends
the
what
thousands, yeah.
in the thousands. Also, it depends what brand and what animal you get it from.
Yeah, so when I was a model in New York, it was like a common thing to click will you wear fur or not, because people are against the skinning of animals and poaching of to get the fur. It comes from something that is an animal. So yeah, that's a common thing to be against.
So PETA
He
is
said, "Screw that."
PETA is back in the news, guys. No, I'm working to keep us on topic.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's
I was just trying to relate.
No, it does, but I'm just moving forward. PETA is back in the news. PETA calls for Major League Baseball to change the term bullpen to arm barn to be sensitive to cows,
What the hell?
because
Oh.
we live in an absolute clown world in which nothing matters anymore. The simulation is broken, and so the World Series is underway, and the people for the ethical treatment of animals are asking Major League Baseball to do one thing: change the term bullpen to arm barn.
PETA, you are irrelevant.
They are very yes. This article screams of we need advertising and money. So it says, in a press release issued Thursday, PETA called on the MLB to get rid of the outdated name and change it to the suggestion that is more animal friendly. Words matter, and baseball bullpens devalue talented players and mock the misery of sensitive animals, PETA Executive Vice President Tracy Ryman said in the release. I hope that Ryman got like a bonus for being able to say this with a straight face. PETA encourages Major League Baseball coaches, announcers, players, and fans to change up their language and embrace the arm barn instead. Personally, I think arm barn is offensive.
What the
to
hell is a
people.
bullpen?
It's where like if you're in baseball, like you have a starting pitcher, right?
Yeah.
He pitches for however many innings until
Yeah.
they have to take him out because his arm is tired. The relief pitcher warms up in the bullpen.
Oh,
Okay.
like that cage.
Yeah.
It's not a cage. That she doesn't know what she's talking about. That's
I
a
like-
batting cage. It's a different thing.
Yeah, batting cage is different, Miracle.
I like calling it a cage, but yeah, No, this is not the first time they actually did it. There's a list of what PETA told people what to call. So you're not allowed to call guys pigs or dogs. You have to call them different alternatives. And you can't say the word bitch because that's very offensive.
To female dogs?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
I call
They don't
that
know
all the
English.
time.
And then you can't say chicken because it's offensive to chickens. What?
Yeah, that was the one where like you can't like tell somebody they're a chicken for not wanting to do something. Like,
Yeah.
you're
You
a
can
chicken.
call them a coward instead.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this. These demands, this list of demands. Yeah.
Mhm.
I get a huge kick out of this because I feel like in an age of hyperpolarization, everyone can get behind mocking PETA.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of what they believe in, because what they believe in is obviously important, the ethical
Yeah.
treatment of animals.
Mhm.
But these requests are bordering so far into the absurd that nobody's actually buying that this is what this is about.
Well,
Yeah, but how many animals have died under the direct care of PETA?
a lot,
A
because
lot.
like there was one instance where PETA tried to release these pigs from this farmer, and what happened was they stompled the pigs and they died, so it backfired.
And also, how many animals have been offended by the use of the word bullpen in baseball?
I
Sure.
don't think animals really understand to a certain
So
extent.
0.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Well-
what I'm saying. This is clearly bait. Like I'm
Mhm.
taking the bait on this one. You win,
Mhm.
PETA. You win in this instance. But
Yeah, 'cause
it's
we're talking
it's-
about it.
But
Yeah.
the fact that we live in a world that's so clownish now that this is actually
Wait, how come PETA didn't cancel the furry community?
Ooh.
Let's find out. Let's find out on air if they did.
Oh my god, have they ever canceled the furry community? Because that kind of violates animal rights. But would you call a person an animal if
Maybe
they're
they
dressed up
classify
as
furries as animals.
Hmm.
And maybe that's
Yeah.
who's getting offended.
Oh, and then other kin, people who identify as other species. Your face.
I wasn't aware of that one.
Oh yeah, have you seen this famous video? I think they identify as a she, but she mainly identifies as a otherkin as a wolf.
Huh.
Yeah.
There's a great video from a YouTuber named A Dose of Buckley who does a video about an otherkin and just says, "You're weird and that's okay."
So,
Mhm.
would that hold up if you were to, like, if that person was in a relationship with someone who identified as a human and they had a child together? Would that be bestiality?
That's what I'm thinking. But
that
have
blows
you?
it right apart.
Yeah, have you seen that video of this girl that she identifies as a puppy and her boyfriend's okay with it, and she has a OnlyFans, and I'm like, of course she has one.
Well, we're about to find out something more, even just as relevant to this. It says from Quora.
Quora?
Quora, yeah.
Should furries have human rights or animal rights? We live in a day and age where you can become a caterpillar, so I don't think this question is out of the ordinary. Oh, it's not an article. It's just somebody's.
It's
Yeah,
a
Quora's like a
tweet.
question board,
Yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah.
Well, my moral system has no concept of rights, and humans are animals. But if you're going to make the distinction between human and non-human, then furries being human can only have human rights in a moral system that does include rights. That was fantastically written
Yeah.
for such a question of
Mhm.
such an absurd question. Like this is why the internet was born. Was to make stuff like this, like something you can like. This is something that people who get really high talk about. Like dudes like
Or
smoke a
if you
bunch
just-
of weed
yeah.
and they're just like, dude, like this is amazing. What do you think? Furry rights, human rights, animal rights.
I just think whatever your kink is fine as
It-
long as
but
you're
it's-
not harming.
that
It's
necess-
not.
It's
though.
not necessarily a kink.
Well, no, like yes and no. I'll argue with it, but that's a whole different subject that I can do on a whole different video about it. But yeah, it's a yes and a no. It can be a kink, and no, it can't. It could be just an identity thing. But for me, I just think like you can be whatever you want to be as long as it's not harming other people.
But it probably is at some point.
At some like saying like they bit somebody.
What if
like
they had
that.
children and then they identified as a furry and signed their human rights away? Those children would then go to a foster home, technically. Because you can't own children. You can't raise children if you're an animal.
That's true, but then
Mowgli
they're
would
partners.
Yeah, I
Disagree.
know the wolves. You know.
Yeah. Have you heard the original story of Mowgli? Basically, his adopted parents in the village, basically they kicked him out because he was like too They thought he was like a sorcerer, so they kicked him out. And then he found
What?
out his village that where his foster parents were, they were like basically bullying them and almost like they were torturing them too. So you know what he did? He got a pack of animals and destroyed that whole village just for revenge.
Wait. So this is an actual.
This is the real alternative story of Mowgli. Like,
Mowgli's
real
not a
art.
real person though.
no,
I
it's
was
a
about
book.
to say.
It's a book, but the
Okay.
real
Jungle
alternative.
Book.
Yes.
We just gently went into the fiction section. Of,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yay.
So here's the thing about the furries. So
Mhm.
when we start to allow this type of behavior to prosper in our society, we begin to see other, how you say it, kinks spring up as well. And now we're starting to see in the media and pop culture like the acceptance of pedophilia.
Yeah, well,
know?
it's called maps now. We're not allowed to call them
I don't give a
pedos.
fuck.
Yeah. But
I think that's where I'm not sure of a lot of stuff, but I'm pretty sure that's where normal people will draw the line. Like, I don't, you guys know that I'm probably more black-pilled than anybody here, but
yeah.
I do think that when it comes to these battles that we're in right now, within the socio-political context, it goes bad when the food starts to short, meaning when people can't eat and when their kids are threatened is when things start to turn. So I do think that most of the people within LGBTQIA who are not bad people, who may not identify with the organization, but happen to fall under that banner, that does not mean that they're activists. That just
They're
means
not.
that there are people who happen to be gay, happen to be bisexual, happen to be transgender. That's fine. But I'm hesitant to believe that most of those people would accept maps into that organization.
Nope.
I know that there's a push for that within certain
Definitely
aspects of the
is,
group.
yep.
You see it on Twitter from
Yeah.
at least what I've seen from videos and stuff like that. I don't troll Twitter for any reason. But you see it. You see that stuff, and you have to be aware that most people who would fall under those banners aren't necessarily going to agree with that.
Sure, but are they allies by default?
No. So what happens is if you want to Google Maps on
I don't want to
Don't do
Google
that.
Maps.
No.
Please, God,
Don't-
don't do that.
No.
You, the viewer,
I'm not
don't do
doing
that.
that.
No, but like what I mean by because they have their own like wiki page, like the LGBTQIA, is that
So
right?
it's a different sect.
Yeah, like there's a whole different Wikipedia page for it, and like if you search up maps into their website, they said we do not identify as them. They're not a part of our community. We do not accept them. So even on their own website, they say
Wow,
they
so tolerant.
yeah. They even said it like in their own website. Like there's a summary. They're like this is what the acronym stands for. We do not we do not identify with them. They're not a part of our community.
Do you see the parallel between, like, we used to not have to come out and say, "Oh, I'm anti-racist."
Yeah.
Now you do.
You have
Otherwise,
to.
you're accused of being racist by default.
You have to prove your virtue.
So if you, with using that logic, 10 years down the road, maybe even less, you might have to come out and say you're against, maps in the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, then
well,
that means you're for it.
well, then like that whole community, they're against like white saviors and storytelling. Like they,
Oh, that was beautiful.
yeah.
That was. I mean, it's not really true, but it was a fantastic attempt at a segue.
So, yeah.
She, I mean, actually, there
They
probably is
kinda
a strong
are.
correlation there, but without like an actual point to like point that out, I don't think that really works as a segue. But good job.
I tried, but you
Um,
weren't talking about books, so I was
Oh.
like, shit.
So,
Sorry.
I did want to talk about Dune. One more. Did either of you either of you seen it yet? Dune.
No, I
Okay.
don't have the time to watch a 3-hour movie.
Oh, you should have said I don't have TV. You should have been a
Sure.
boomer.
There's another article. Dune has been covered for its box office. It's been covered for whether it's going to get a sequel. It's been covered because of stuff the director has said. And now more of it is Dune a white savior narrative, which I found hilarious because my question is, in an age now where it's elevate black voices, where it's tell unique stories, which we absolutely should be doing with other communities, say that's true, that this is a white savior complex. Why does that matter? so this is one story that happens to have that. Let them have their story, and then other people tell other stories. That's inclusion.
But in the trailer, I didn't feel like it was a white savior movie because it shows Zendaya like standing over the main character. What is the actor's name for the main character?
Timothy Chalamet.
Thank you. So Timothy, like, he's on the floor in the desert, and then Zendaya is like standing over him, and then like she basically like not transforms, like she kind of like transitioned him into their community. So I don't see it as white savior per se.
Let's find out what they say in the article and at least see what their logic is. So it says Denis Villeneuve's Dune is a barrage of beautiful cinematography and sonic extremes. As you take in entrancing visuals, you hear whispers and shouts, but almost nothing in between, nothing of sustained dialogue, character development, or painstaking world building that was a hallmark of Frank Herbert's novels. I'll agree with that. It did feel like, I did see it, and it does feel like these visuals, which are gorgeous, beautifully shot, beautifully crafted, they do hold, and there is they could have done so much world building in such a short period of time, but they chose for, I'm guessing that this is director's choice, to sustain those visuals with no further story development for a reason, and we'll probably find out about that in part 2. But going on. To make Dune accessible, Villeneuve's team attempted to replace Herbert's inner monologues and narration with visual and oral cues, focusing on Paul and his mother so that, as Villeneuve put it, allow us to feel what their mindset is without having a voiceover. And there's something to be said about that. In storytelling, they do talk a lot about show, don't tell. Show, don't tell is a very big thing. So it says, what's left when you take away all of this, all of the thoughts and ideas and all of that detailed exposition and replace it with sweeping vistas and a blaring Hans Zimmer score? What remains on the sandy plains of Arrakis, in a large part a vague Middle Eastern and North African aesthetic, peppered with actual Arabic words and filmed on location in Jordan, Abu Dhabi. Unfortunately, the aesthetic is not neutral in Hollywood, and the image of an Arab-ish crowd of veiled wailing women, not to mention what is injected with violence, has a history. Not to mention when it's injected with violence has a history that is steeped in dehumanization of entire peoples. It is certainly possible to reclaim and complicate these images, but that would have required an upfront act of subversion by the filmmakers. At the very least, it needed a multifaceted, non-white character who survived to the end. So I love how they talk about, what did they say? The dehumanization of an entire peoples, as they call it, a white savior complex. Not realizing that you're taking one individual's journey in the book and making it about white people entirely, which is extremely dehumanizing
and racist,
and extremely racist.
Well, if it's white, it's not racist, right? That's what they think. Like, if we're
there's an
insulting a
exception.
white man, it's not racist and it's not sexist.
And I also heard the word, you heard the word subversion in there. They love to talk about subverting expectations because that's what they want to do. They want to subvert all of the classic storytelling structure and all of the ways in which we've told stories and built community in America and make it different because, I don't know, communism. Dune relies heavily on Islam to build its universe. For Herbert, Islam, a major part of human heritage, and by extension, its future. His use isn't simple His use isn't simple window dressing either. It shows a deep engagement with both the beliefs and histories of a wide variety of Muslims. And he further complicates his usage by not confining this Muslim flavor to the Fremen. Those characters in the...
I love it how they said flavor.
Yep. The native people of Arrakis, rather, he extends through the story's universe, its peoples, its religions, and its proverbs, and its books. Most of what I get from most of these articles is that storytelling with books is extremely difficult to translate to screen. And in an age where everything is surface level and nobody's looking for deep story structure or indeed deep storytelling, you're going to get articles like this where someone goes for it and they're just judged based on some lame progressively ideological viewpoint like white savior complex.
Well, you can pick anything apart, like...
They love to deconstruct.
Well, it's based in the whole critical race theory is based in law in the first place. So, like, makes a lot of sense because lawyers deconstruct things and, cross-examine
Off topic, I didn't realize Dune was based on Middle Eastern culture. I didn't realize
And you say the
that.
place is called Arrakis?
Arrakis.
Oh. Oh, that.
ARR.
Oh, okay.
It's not
It's like
I.
Arrakis?
No.
I know. I was like, wait, that kind of helps me connect the dots now.
It's like
But
get a little more creative than that.
I know, but like, still, like when they say white savior, I don't see this movie as white savior. You want to know what's a good white savior movie that kind of flopped? The Great Wall.
Never saw it.
Basically, I forgot who was the actor for it, but he was the lead actor. He was the white savior. Like, this is the real definition of white savior, because he's in China and he's helping the Chinese people defend the Great Wall.
So is it like one white guy? who
Yeah,
goes to
it's one-
China, He's like, I'll help you defend the wall that
Yeah.
you built.
It's like I don't know if you guys are old enough. To remember. Did you see the movie Independence Day?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
in the honest trailer, they say we're saving the world means only America can figure out how to get it done. And
Exactly.
it's like the Americans, they want to
Mhm.
organize a counteroffensive. Every other country's just sitting on their hands waiting for us
Exactly.
to. Like,
Yeah.
that's a thing. That's a thing. That's like America. Only America can
Mhm.
solve world's problems.
Well, the
Team
world
America.
doesn't have
Yeah.
have
So
another
you can
Area
see
51.
the actor right there, like legit the trailer. Well, you can't play trailers, but it was a dumb movie. Like, legit, I got pissed off about it. Like, I'm not a Chinese nationalist or anything, or like I don't care for other countries that much, but but basically this movie was like, oh no, China's under attack. Oh wow, we have a white man from the U.S. You're gonna help us. You're gonna be our general.
They bring
Cool.
in one white guy to come to take the army and lead it. Like,
Matt Damon, is that who played him?
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
Matt Damon.
This is a recent movie. I'm thinking like
No, this-
1950s.
2016.
2016.
fucking way.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I gotta see this.
We're gonna all have to watch this now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm surprised I haven't.
Yeah,
seen the trailer
because
for it.
like in recent
Matt
pop
Damon.
culture things, like they try to cancel Last Samurai, but no, they don't realize that Last Samurai there was a white man that
Yeah,
actually helped.
Tom
so that's
Cruise.
that
Oh wait, so historically,
historically there was a white man that
So
saved.
the
Tom
white
Cruise
savior
saved so many lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Matt Damon, no, his character didn't really exist.
That's well, it's go back to what
wait,
you
so there was a white guy in Last Samurai in like the real story.
The real story, there was a white guy that helped, and
the hell was he doing there?
I think it was like before World War II he was there. But
Oh.
the same thing, like there is a black samurai, so this is another fun fact about samurai culture. Basically there was a black samurai that came from Africa, and he's the first black samurai, and nobody
Nice.
talks about him. He's like
Well, they'll
legit
make a
cool.
movie about that
So
soon.
they
Yeah.
probably should.
Yeah.
they should make a movie about that.
That's
Yeah.
that's pretty cool history that we should all
They
Yeah.
hear about.
we were talking about there was an article today about how Larry Hama is now saying that he always wanted the character of Snake Eyes to be Asian,
Mhm.
when everyone knows that that's not true.
Yeah. Isn't Snake Eyes like some white guy?
He's a white guy. That's the
Yeah.
point. It was subversive for the time, meaning that
Mhm.
you expected the guy to doing martial arts to be Asian, but he's
Mhm.
not. He's just a plain looking white guy, and that's
Mhm.
supposed to be the point of the character.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's
Have
I-
you seen the trailer for it, like Snake Eyes?
I saw the movie. It was awful.
Oh, the movie's out? I thought, ooh.
Came
oh,
out like 2 months ago.
My bad.
It was very bad.
Mm.
Very paint by numbers. He's not Snake Eyes. He doesn't even put the mask on until the end.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point, because like
That's stupid.
that was the whole point. They're like, we have to build a history on a character that nobody really
No,
cared
they
about.
don't. Snake Eyes is one of those characters. You don't need to do that. Like people know who Snake Eyes is.
I know.
People going to see GI Joe movies love GI Joe.
Mhm.
Like that's one of those fandoms that's
Mm-hmm.
still around. Like GI Joe comics still sell
Mhm.
because the GI Joe fandom is extremely passionate about the.
It's
about
the same thing
material.
like the Street Fighter movie, Legend
Yeah.
of Chun-Li, where like they told the background story for that one villain that wears the mask and the reason why.
Vega?
Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of his name, but like he wore the mask because he got scratched in the face, and he's like, "I'm ugly."
By himself?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, ah!
They don't need to explain that stuff. They never needed to ruin Nick Fury in Avengers
Mhm.
Endgame by explaining or in
Why he has the eye patch.
because the stupid.
Cat.
I'm still mad.
It's
I'm still mad about that.
Well,
It cheapens everything he said in Civil War, or I'm
Mhm.
sorry, in Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier and also Agents of Shield. Like it ruined it so much, but they're kind of telling like a disclaimer to people that cats like have very dirty nails. You can actually get infected by cat scratches.
Yeah, ringworm.
Cat scratch fever.
Mm-hmm. So I think they were just trying to tell people like, careful, cats have diseases.
It's a
could've
story
picked a
about a
different
military
story.
leader and superheroes. Nobody gives a crap about cats having dirty nails. This is what I'm saying. There's a
Yeah.
point to like. There's a time and a place for stuff. This is not the time. That is not the time and the place
Yeah.
for. Especially if you want to build 20 movies of lore and then just throw it away on a cheap
That's
gag.
like saying, you know, Frosty the Snowman used to be a map, and then he was condemned to being a snowman because of something he did.
That's a terrible punishment,
Right?
but it's
Well,
funny.
I mean, but think about a backstory like that would ruin the entire thing.
You don't need to explain everything.
Wait, that would be a funny movie.
Yes, but it would also be pretty fucked up.
Bad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Especially because there's a bunch of kids singing and walking around him.
Walking around the Christmas tree.
It's like Frosty the Snowman. He's a happy, jolly guy. Nah.
Too happy.
Yeah.
Too jolly.
Why is he so happy?
We need to know.
It's
the kids
the
make my heart melt.
God.
sorry.
I'm going back to a
And he comes
more.
to life.
I mean, was he really covered with snow?
Oh, moving on. Moving on. God, you're awful.
I'm sorry.
Way to bring it home, Miracle.
Thank you. Okay, so do you guys remember the story about Lori Loughlin went to jail for getting her kid into college, like paying basically to get her kid into college? Do you remember?
Yeah, she cheated.
She cheated. Do either of you guys remember?
Yeah, I saw a documentary about it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What was it
Yeah.
called?
I forgot.
But was it good? Like it was
Yeah, it was okay.
even-handed? Did they make her look like a really good person or a really bad person?
No, they make her look bad.
Okay.
Well, because she was a bad person.
Yeah.
Basically, she scammed her way for her kid.
It was
to be,
mainly about like how this one guy was able to make a living pulling this kind of stuff off, and it was mainly focused on him being like a genius, but also not a good guy.
So what did he do? Did he like take the test for them?
Well, they're like, why is this guy? No, he would hire people to take the tests, but he organized everything, and like no one really knew what his job was, and he was flying all around, had all this money.
Yeah.
And, you know, he had the opportunity to blackmail lots of people,
I bet.
and he did, like, pay somebody at one of the schools to look the other way, and that guy ended up...
So we're talking full-on bribery. We're not
Oh,
just talking
yeah.
about, okay, wow.
Yeah, like he even told, there was like also with her case and like a couple other celebrity cases, they said, hey, if you donate money to the school or like donate
Yeah,
computers
yes.
to the school, we can let your kid have a full ride.
The
And it
track
makes-
coach was in on it.
I mean, the
everything.
parents, like, Lori Loughlin doesn't need her kid to get a full ride to go to college. She just needs the kid to get into the
Her
college.
kid didn't even
Right.
want to go to college.
Exactly. He went to college for a stupid reason too.
So the article, it came up because nobody here will know it, but there's a movie called Rad. It's a biking movie from the 1980s.
You keep on advertising it.
I love it. It's the greatest movie ever made. It's cinema at its finest. And Lori Loughlin was in there. I watched Full House, but I was only mildly, whatever. But this is Lori Loughlin. Now, this is an example of somebody trying to do, to at least make amends, at least from what this article's saying. So, Lori Loughlin is moving on from the college admissions scandal. I thought she was still in jail.
I
thought
never
so.
knew I didn't know she
Well,
was.
she's in special celebrity jail. They don't
So
stay
house
in
arrest?
jail. Yes.
No, I think they said that she went to like minimum security,
So at home.
club fed.
Yeah.
So the Full House alum privately arranged to put 2 students through 4 years of college, according to Us Weekly. Report paying tuition and expenses totaling over $500,000.
Jesus.
Is that what college is putting 2 kids to school through
It's
for
one of
the-
$500,000
What's
Howard
it?
or
Ivy
Brown,
League?
I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
an Ivy League.
for
or,
2? That sounds low to me for 2 kids.
Dude, it's hard to get into an Ivy League, but dude,
But she's not getting them into it. She's just paying for kids to go to college.
Right.
that's true. But no, like for me, this kind of upset me. But I didn't go to the most expensive college. I went to a UC. Well, not a UC, a Cal State, California university, and it was kind of easy to get in because I was in that hometown. So I don't understand why she needed her kid to go to an Ivy League if her kid didn't even want to go to college in the first place. Like, stop forcing your kid to join college.
I get why this story didn't like ruffle as many like that's like as bad as it is. like it's still like I mean, at least she's a concerned mom. She's what she's doing is awful,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
like she's doing it because she supposedly cares about what happens to her kid.
What
Well,
is she doing to make amends? Do you say?
Okay, so we'll keep going. So it says she paid over $500,000 to put 2 kids, not her own kids, through college.
What?
And but that's not the important part of this. It says Laughlin, as well as her husband Massimo Giannulli, pleaded guilty in May of 2020 to conspiracy charges in connection with securing the fraudulent admission of their 2 daughters, Olivia Jade and Isabella Giannulli, I think that's how you pronounce that last name, to the University of Southern California as purported athletic recruits.
Yeah.
The couple paid the disgraced college admissions expert William Rick Singer $500,000 in bribes to secure admission, the same amount Laughlin is now fronting for the other students. Laughlin was sentenced to 2 months in prison for her role in the scandal, which she served last fall. 2 months. She also paid $150,000 fine, completed
That's probably why.
completed 100 hours of community service, and is serving 2 years of supervised release.
Did she get the $500K back?
I know. I'm guessing she. Well, the government probably seized it.
I'm
right?
sure they did.
The government probably seized it once again. According to Us Weekly to an Us Weekly source, Laughlin hopes she's now allowed to move on as she resumes working in her first post-scandal project, a role in GAC's Family When Hope Calls. The source added that the actress feels like there is this stigma attached to her by people who don't want her to have any success. Laughlin previously played the character for 6 seasons on Hallmark's channel When Calls the Heart, which is a weird name for a
I've
show.
never heard of that.
But, well, do you watch a lot of the Hallmark Channel?
No.
You don't look like a Hallmark Channel guy.
I mean,
Every once in a while.
they have a hit or a miss movie section sometimes when it comes to Christmas or Valentine's
I was going to say
Day.
Christmas, yeah.
Valentine's Day too. Like
Got
they,
a lot of B-list movies in there with like Neil Patrick Harris as like a
yeah.
guy that just moves
But
to
those
town and
movies kind of suck. Netflix already
Yeah.
took over their industry with like their Christmas movies.
So the reason I brought this up was originally I read this article saying that like quietly put her, like she didn't announce this to anyone, which I like. Like she did not announce that I'm making this good deed happen. She just did it. The article picks up on it, but it's not like she went and made like there's no tweet connected to this saying,
Yeah.
I have donated $500,000 to so-and-so. I like that. I like the idea
yeah, that would ruin everything.
and we do, like, people here who tend to be on the right, or we talk a lot about how there's no redemption and no forgiveness in the current political climate. You're
Yeah.
not allowed to have to make mistakes or have differing views. Everyone has to be in lockstep, and if you screw up, you've screwed up forever. You're never allowed to live it down. We do need to allow people to make amends and to do better. I hate that they're always like, do better. But you actually have to do it and mean it. You have to be able to allow people to make mistakes, pay for their crimes in the way that we have decided is the appropriate way in the Western justice system. Whether we think she got enough time in jail or not is not really our responsibility. This is what happened. She made her, she served her time. Whether we think that's too much or too little is inconsequential. She did it, and now she's trying to do better and not making it a publicity stunt. And I think that's something that can be commended.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So
I agree with that.
So Olivia Jade, who left USC in 2019, says she feels like I walk on eggshells when I talk, just because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I always want to make it clear to people listening that I'm not trying to victimize myself. I like that too. I like the idea that they don't want to be seen as victims. She said she's become a different person from this and credits therapy with helping her cope.
Interestingly, they kind of are victims, though.
Yep, the kids are absolutely victims.
Because like the parents inadvertently kind of ruined their lives. with
That's
this.
true. Like one of the
Yep.
celebrities, like the son, I forgot what university he went to, but he said, "This is not fair that everybody's like bullying me for like being paid full ride, and I basically
They
my
didn't have a
parents."
choice.
Yeah, well, he was like trying to play the victim card, but then like after that, he said, "Well, I kind of want to be fair and like try to do better as a person."
Yeah, sure. You're 50% victim at best.
Yeah.
But that is a problem. These kids of celebrities, there is no escaping this now in
No.
the interconnected world we live in. One thing that I kind of always not long for, I miss the idea that there was a time when if you did something that ruined your image within your community, because everyone screws up and everyone mistakes to differing degrees, I miss the idea that you could pick up and move to another town and start over.
Yep.
And you can't do that anymore.
You can do that in the Midwest.
No, you can. The internet
Not
is
really.
everywhere, my friend. You cannot do that.
You have to change your name and lie about everything, and then you'll end up on some weird show about how you did that.
Oh, well, I kind of did it. I won't go into details how I did it, but
You
I kind
just
of did.
admitted that you did it, so now everyone knows.
But you have, but you don't have social media also.
No, I got rid of them.
Isn't
Well, excluding my Discord.
So you can
What about Lemon Party?
strike that one from the record. But I'm just saying there was a time when you could make mistakes and you just picked up and moved on and you learned and hopefully learned from them.
Yeah.
But now you are now that person forever and it follows you wherever you go. And that kind of, I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of weird to explain.
It's
how.
something that we will in many ways have to deal with here. Like just by being
Yeah.
connected to a media company that has what I believe as very, very moderate views in a lot of ways, or at least common sense related views, but you're labeled by people. Like one of the reasons I, on top of the ones that I always talk about, not the reasons I didn't want to do this show is I don't want to be I never wanted to be a public figure. I don't want to be a public figure. I don't want to be fodder for other people to put up, put down, whatever. All the nice things in the world can be said about you, but the human brain automatically goes to the negative ones. And I
true.
just, some people can deal with that. I never wanted that burden. So I don't know. I feel for Lawful because it just seems like the idea that they're trying to do better and not make a publicity stunt out of it, that's commendable for a celebrity.
Yeah.
Because their life is basically public relations. That your image is everything in that world. So, okay, you guys want to do a couple more?
Yeah.
Was there anything you guys? Was there any other ones you wanted to talk about, Miracle?
Other than
The
like.
Pop-Tart one.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of food-related articles I kept on sending to Brett. Maybe I should stop sending you food-related articles when I'm hungry. But there's a Pop-Tart one, Doritos, and Twix.
Instead of going to the grocery store when you're hungry, you send me weird cultural articles based on food.
Yeah, well, like the Pop-Tart one, I thought it was funny because they want to cancel Pop-Tarts because it's not labeled as what's in the filling. Like the strawberry one, and then Doritos. Have you guys seen the commercials for Doritos and Twix recently?
Yes.
Yeah, very interesting how they're trying to be.
What did you think of them, Ryan?
Yeah.
Confusing. I wasn't sure what kind of advertisement it was for, other than probably a LGBTQ
Yeah. Well.
community.
And what does that have to do with chips, I ask?
Well, the chips
Right.
one.
I don't know.
Well, the chips one, since Doritos is actually like made out of tortilla chips, they try to like advertise to the Hispanic culture. Not Hispanic culture, Hispanic people, saying like, oh, like this is kind of your culture and this is like Day of the Dead. And I'm like, dude, it's October. It's not Day of the Dead yet.
Well, they also called them all gay. They're
Well,
like, your grandfather's gay.
Yeah, it was
Thanks for
funny.
making our chips.
Yeah, it was funny because like the grandmother was like, oh, I get to see my husband. Oh. Well, I'm happy that
Oh.
he's not going to be
Wait
alone.
a sec.
I
Wait,
think I
so he
asked-
was married?
Yeah, he was married. The old
And then-
lady was his wife. But then like he unveiled that he had a partner right next
So her whole marriage was a lie.
Maybe she set it up.
So many things are just.
I haven't seen this commercial, so I'm
Oh my
actually
God.
loving this right now because this is the most confusing. Like, I can imagine that if the conversation about the commercial is this confusing, that the commercial must have just been
I
awesome.
thought it was pretty straightforward, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, the commercials talking about Day of the Dead and like you know how like the whole thing with Day of the Dead, the tradition is to go to your loved ones' graves, give them like offerings, like for example Doritos. Like if
Sure.
they want Doritos, you give that to them. That's what they're gonna take to the afterlife. And
Yeah.
then, but the grandmother, like she was like mourning for him because like he's dead. So I'm assuming that's her husband. But then when the husband's ghost came, because like Day of the Dead, like they have candles and like marigolds to lead the dead back to you.
Yeah.
So like his ghost appeared and they're like, oh, we get to see grandpa again. But then
Out
grandpa,
of the shadows.
yeah, like but then grandpa like moves down his sombrero and right next to him is a skinny man. And
Oh,
she-
I've seen it.
yeah, and like the grandmother's like, I'm so happy that he's not alone.
Okay.
And I'm like, what?
Let me say something.
Not alone. Wait, who was with him?
Oh,
So-
his partner.
His partner.
His,
So,
his
yeah.
male partner.
Male
Yes.
partner.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with that. However, if I were the the grandmother who looked like
Feels
she was
like
probably going to die
propaganda.
pretty soon.
Yeah.
Looking forward to spending, time in heaven with her husband.
Yeah.
I'd be emotionally shattered.
Well, like they made her like more open about it because she was like,
What is she,
"Oh,
where does she fit into that equation?
I don't know.
She doesn't.
Nowhere.
It's a bruise."
Listen to this. That means that even if it means that you have to give up an eternity with your husband, you still better be open to the idea, or you're a bigot.
Oh.
That's what they're
That's
saying.
exactly what they're saying.
That's exactly what they're saying. They're saying that, like, even though it would inconvenience you and essentially discount 50 or however many years of marriage, you're still a bigot. You're not just angry because it's discounting your marriage. You're angry because you don't like people of a specific group.
Yeah.
So did anyone here take a marketing course?
Yeah, I did.
I was
So-
supposed to.
So when just thinking back to that class,
Mhm.
and you've seen the commercial, of course.
Mhm.
So what elements of that commercial actually fit into the whole marketing process?
Doritos,
For a
Mexican.
product.
Let's do it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel as Doritos has probably got a board of directors full of cis white males, this is probably cultural appropriation as well as anti-LGBTQ.
Yeah.
That
and-
is the only thing I can think of is that they're trying to. I
But-
can't even say that you're marketing a product because there was nothing there that suggests that this is for Doritos other than that last like 1 second where they showed a Dorito packet.
No, she had a bowl of Doritos, and you know what kind of flavor the Dorito chips are? I thought this was really funny. It's the nacho cheese one.
Thought you were going to say flaming
That is
hot.
cultural appropriation.
Yes, flaming hot.
That would be funny. That would have been more funny, but no, they did their classic flavored nacho cheese, and like she put it in a bowl and put it on his altar/tombstone.
Cheetos, it's on you guys to make the rebuttal ad.
Oh God, no! Have you seen like it's really old, but their rap video?
No.
It's so funny. But then back to like the whole like food thing. Have you seen the Twix commercial?
I just want to say before we go on
Yeah.
that I don't know if, like you were saying, like what does it have to do with chips? Not always necessarily relevant. Beer commercials are famous for this. Real Men of Genius, maybe the greatest marketing campaign of all time, or at least most memorable, and has crap to do with beer. Nothing to do with beer, I guess, so
Yeah.
not really, doesn't need to be relevant. The point of the matter is, like, a decade from now, you'll be seeing like an advertisement for a Day of the Dead celebration. Like, remember that stupid commercial we
Yeah.
saw? So
yeah, it's
could
like
be it.
subconscious
Yeah.
connecting something with a positive that'll make you remember that.
and it's just fashioned in an age where LGBTQ, topics are more prevalent, which is fine. So maybe we're on the wrong side of this.
Yeah,
Maybe like
Well, how,
it seems
what
the
percentage of people
grandpa.
is LGBTQ that are buying Doritos though? Like, is this really about marketing to a group?
Well, it's the same thing like how we were talking about yesterday. How like they dedicate the whole month of June to basically like cash in all the gays.
It's
with their
it's literally
gay pride.
called rainbow capitalism.
I think it's just to get us talking about it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's what
I
I'm saying.
think so.
Which is why I said earlier, I don't want to fall into that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're taking the bait.
We're giving them free
But
advertising.
I'm just wondering, are they making back the amount of money that they spent to make that commercial with Dorito sales? Like, I don't think
I don't
so.
know.
And
Honestly,
that begs the question, who's paying for it?
so the company's so successful that just the name being out there is what matters. Like, I
Okay.
don't know if you looked at Doritos marketing campaigns, I would be hesitant to believe that one type of ad.
So as long as they break even, it's just good publicity for them to keep up with the times.
I find it hard to believe that one ad campaign does more than another ad campaign when it's a staple of every grocery store.
Yeah.
And the ads, just all you have to do is get that last second where they see the name of the company and they just need to see the logo places. I
Yep.
don't know if the messaging of the ads are really relevant.
But it could
It's
hurt them.
not.
I think they're willing to take that gamble.
And
Yeah.
it's like what I talked about yesterday, ESG, environmental, social governance. That's
Yeah.
the focus on ads these days
Yep.
for companies because it affects stock prices.
And we don't know how much that commercial actually costs to make.
Well,
So
it's
we
all
can't
animation.
measure the performance.
So I did find one more topic that I think is actually more important to talk about. And
No
it is,
problem.
It's Mac Miller's drug supplier pleads guilty to distributing fentanyl-laced pills. This is relevant because it is pop culture, because Mac Miller is a very well-known rapper. And it goes to a lot of what we talk about here, which is, at least I talk a lot about personal responsibility and where that draws the line and how it affects legalities. But basically it says, a man pleaded guilty in connection with the death of Mac Miller. Stephen Walter knowingly and intentionally directed the rapper's drug dealer to distribute fentanyl in the form of counterfeit oxycodone pills. According to prosecutors, Miller, born Malcolm McCormick, accidentally overdosed on fentanyl-laced pills 3 years ago. Officials say fentanyl is 50 times more potent than heroin. Yahoo Entertainment obtained a copy of the agreement in which Walter, 48, pleads guilty to one count of distribution of fentanyl. He faced a more serious charge, conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance, and was charged with being a felon in possession of ammunition. According to the document, Walter directed Ryan Michael Rivas, 38, to give the counterfeit pills to Cameron James Pruitt, 30. All three men were indicted on drug-related charges in 2019. Walter knew that the pills that he directed Rivas to give Pettit contained fentanyl or some other federally controlled substance, and all relevant times intended for Rivas to distribute the pills to Pettit, the document states. Miller asked Pettit for 10 blues, short for oxycodone, Xanax, and cocaine 3 days ago. Miller asked Pettit for 10 blues, short for oxycodone, Xanax, and cocaine 3 days before he was found dead. So he basically got oxycodone, Xanax, and cocaine. The Circles singer snorted the fentanyl-laced pills in combination with cocaine and alcohol. Miller would not have died from an overdose, but for the fentanyl contained in the pills, the government claims. First of all, that is a very, very, very hard thing to prove. Your body can react very differently to different medications based on a lot of factors, what you've been eating, how high your tolerance is. I don't buy.
They'd have to know his daily drug dose history.
Yes.
Yep.
They can have whatever's in his system at the autopsy, but that does not mean that they are privy to just how much of it is. I guess a
Well,
hair.
even with the Derek Chauvin trial, it's very hard for them to show how much drugs were actually in George Floyd's system, because after death those compounds are still being broken down. So it really just depends on when they take that test after death.
So yeah, and we're even getting down into the weeds of like amounts and
Right.
stuff like that. To me, the issue is the government regulating or the government punishing a dude for giving a dude what he wanted. Like now, I'm not saying that he should be selling drugs illegally. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that he chose to take them. At the end of the day,
But did he know there was fentanyl in them?
Sometimes they don't.
Did he expect there to be fentanyl in them? Because that's kind of fucked up.
you're buying drugs
Yeah, but
illegally.
you'd expect them to be what you're paying for, wouldn't you?
Well,
Like-
sometimes they can lace it with other things.
No, I
like-
know that. I mean, it's a risk you take
It's a
when you buy
risk-
drugs
Yeah.
legally. Yeah, I
I'm-
get that.
I'm sober now, but had a very, very, very heavy addiction to pills and narcotics, and what he was doing right there would not have been outside the realm of daily use for me. Cocaine and opiates. I didn't drink alcohol while doing that, but it just interests me that first of all, the alcohol legal, completely legal, just as deadly. But to me, we're getting away from this notion. Like the drug dealer is responsible for selling bad pills because they're illegal, but not because I necessarily think that they should be. And if it were up to me, I think all drugs would be federally legalized, and they'd be able to dispense them safely from
Yeah, because if
safe-
that were to be
and-
the case, this wouldn't happen.
and if it with easier access, there's less of a need for counterfeit versions which have fentanyl pumped and laced through them, which are very,
Yeah.
very, very dangerous to take. Now, that is a risk you take every time you take drugs. If you're taking something that you don't know what's in it. One of the reasons that I, at least at the time before fentanyl was a problem for me, like I didn't take fentanyl, and the fentanyl epidemic wasn't going on when I was suffering through these issues, was that I took pills even though they were more expensive than heroin because you knew exactly how much each dose was every time you took it.
Yeah.
But if something happened, it isn't the drug dealer's fault. The dude who supplied me with my stuff, he did not force those on me. I asked for them, and I took that risk every single time. So as much as I do believe that, I don't know if necessarily I don't know where I fall on this because I think the drug dealers should be held accountable, but it also it's a middle ground.
I think the way they worded it in the law statement was that like he had the option to give him non-spiked pills with fentanyl, but he directed the guy like actually give him the fentanyl, make him think he's getting this.
Okay.
And that made me think, okay, this is malice.
Okay. That could be true. I mean, I don't know why anybody would
honestly,
choose
it
to.
looks like a set-up word phrase, though.
Yeah, like I don't know.
What is? Oh, it's a stink bug. They fly. No big deal.
I don't know if. Why would you want to overdose someone like?
I don't know.
Especially somebody with a famous profile.
Oh,
well,
for
it's
sure.
the same thing with Michael Jackson when he died. He legit asked his doctor to give him more pills, and the doctor didn't really care. He was like, "Sure, whatever.
Yeah,
you're giving me money," but
he gave him what he asked for.
yeah,
But a doctor is supposed to be held
accountable.
Different
for,
standard.
Yeah.
You hold a doctor's doing so through legal means. I mean, that
Yeah.
doctor won't be held accountable
Yeah.
for doing so.
Even though he has been.
But I'm just saying, like that. The doctor is doing so with 4 years of medical training
Sure.
and a knowledge of that what he's doing is wrong at the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he's supposed to be, the drug dealer is prescribing them because somebody wants them because he's a drug dealer and somebody wants drugs. A doctor is supposed to be prescribing them to cure an ailment or to fix
Yeah.
to deal with pain.
Well, okay, to play devil's advocate, because you said you think the drug dealer should be basically accused of being a murderer. What about
I did
people?
not say that.
I
Oh,
did.
He said
okay.
that.
Well,
If that is true, the way they worded it, and I'm
Okay.
not saying it is, I'm just saying it. That's what I got from it, and that's why I'm disagreeing with Brett on that.
okay, sorry, my bad. I thought Brett said it. So Carter,
Yeah.
playing devil's advocate, then would you charge somebody the same way if they told a person online or through text to kill themselves, and that person did kill themselves? Would you do the same
No.
thing? Well, like that's for me. I feel like I agree with you, like how you said, like we should, like, wait, who said they agree, like saying they want to charge the drug dealer as a murderer? I forgot who.
I said that if it is true that he had the option to give Mac Miller what he usually gave him if he usually was the one supplying his stuff, and he decided this time to give him something he knew he would overdose on, then he should be charged.
Yeah, so like for me, I feel like it's the same mentality. Like words and then your actions basically can make a person like kill themselves, and like this person already has like a problem controlling themselves. I know the correlation doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna
like
say.
my brain tried to make it correlate, but it didn't.
Words telling someone to kill themselves and literally giving them something that will kill them are not the same thing.
Yeah, sorry. Like I try to make it correlate, but
If
it
you
didn't.
tried to say like, "Hey, those pills I gave you, take them. They're safe," when you know they're not, and the person did, that would be the same thing.
Yeah.
You are right that if he had knowledge ahead of time, either way, it's still illegal.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, it's still what he sold
We're
them was
splitting
illegal.
hairs here.
Yeah, but to me, I just think I do worry about the loss of like as somebody who could very easily take that side, because I have a history of addiction.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh well, yeah, why didn't he do that? No, you chose to take them.
Yeah.
It was your decision to take something that could be risky. Well, we have counterfeit pills are rampant, and
Yeah. Oh,
you
dude,
should
I'm
assume at all times if you're not getting them from a pharmacy,
For sure.
that what
For
you could
sure.
be you're taking could be spiked with something.
Yeah, I
Whether
think it's
it be
more of a moral
fentanyl,
dilemma.
Yeah, it's definitely a moral dilemma.
Yeah, I'm not saying Mac Miller's innocent in this either. He should have known, but
He's the reason why people why drug dealers and doctors who overprescribe are looked at that way is they're preying on some of the weakest members, what are viewed as the weakest members of society, meaning that they're struggling with something that's so horrendous that they're not in their right mind.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, you're taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
So where does compassion for that problem start and personal responsibility end? Is
that's
where
a
I
good
ask.
way to sum it up.
I don't know
It's a question I can't answer.
I don't know the
Yeah.
answer to that, but I do know that I don't know if anyone's blameless, but it does prove just how much of a tragedy
Yeah.
stuff like this is.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a fantastically positive topic we could be talking about. Aren't we all in such a good mood now?
Sure.
I'm more
Yeah.
awake.
Sure.
We're as vibrant as a Joe Biden fucking event.
It is.
That
It is
is
very
true.
much a Joe Biden rally here.
Let's go, Biden.
You mean let's go, Brandon?
Nope. I meant what I said.
Okay.
Or did I?
I don't know.
I'm a wild card right now. Are you sleepy?
Yeah.
Kind of.
One
I
more,
am too.
one more, and then we'll
Yeah,
one
one
more, and
more.
then we'll go. Okay. This one's good because this is another example of where diversity can be done properly in movies and television if it's done correctly, and that is choosing Michael B. Jordan to play Superman in a Calvin Ellis, not Clark Kent Superman movie.
Oh, it's a whole different one.
As you know, they're doing the Ta-Nehisi Coates
Oh, God, what?
Superman movie. I know, right? If anybody who doesn't know who Ta-Nehisi Coates is, he's a political activist and writer who has done a very good job of destroying Captain America. And
He's done more than that.
He's done, and he's the one who said that. I don't want to take I don't want to take him out of context.
You gotta
here,
do
but-
your own research on Ta-Nehisi
But look
Coates.
up Ta-Nehisi Coates, make up whatever opinion you want about him. I personally do not like his writing, and find him to be far too politically motivated in his literature for
Yeah,
it
he's
to
very
actually work
extreme.
for pulp entertainment. But he's directing or writing a new Superman movie that I will not see because they're purposely making it Clark Kent, which there is a black Superman in
Yeah.
DC canon named Calvin Ellis, which is a hilarious name because Calvin Ellis.
Yeah.
They really worked hard on that name. But basically, Michael B. Jordan is, I think he's producing and going to work on the movie. And it's going to be based around Val Zod. So it says, Deadline reports that Darnell Medier and Josh Peters are set to write Val Zod, the HBO Max adaptation that Michael B. Jordan's Outlier Society production company is producing for DC Entertainment and Warner Brothers Television. Val Zod is the story of another Kryptonian with powers who hails from the same doomed planet as Superman. The hero is black and finds refuge on Earth 2, like the original Man of Steel. He is sheltered on his adopted planet, but eventually in the comics is pitted against a brainwashed Superman. Fantastic story idea.
Yep.
Fantastic story idea. And this is why it bothers people who tend to, like, in this kind of environment, why it bothers us when they talk about just race changing characters without any actual plan, when there's characters you can actually go to and use that have fantastic stories to tell. You don't need to race swap Superman and make him black. You don't need to turn John Kent gay or bisexual. You can do this with characters that already exist and tell amazing stories.
Yeah.
But it just seems like they crave the headlines. They need that advertising bump from making these announcements. Finally, Superman is gay. Finally, Batman is black, et cetera, et cetera. And that bump lasts for, 5 minutes or a couple of days of the marketing push, and then it's gone, and the bad will lasts long after. So,
Well, my question is, how is his character going to be a part of the DC movie universe? Like, how's it going to follow along the lines? Because recently they just promoted Aquaman 2, I believe. Yeah, Aquaman 2. So is this like phase 2 for DC universe?
technically, I think because this would be HBO Max, and they have already established the multiverse, so it would just be Earth 2.
Okay,
So,
that's cool.
It says Medier and Peters are prolific television and feature writers who broke on the scene with their original pilot, American Snow. I never saw that. Their project, The Nola, sold to Amazon with Sam Raimi directing. Wow, Raimi. Their 1 hour pilot, Hannibal, based on the life of the does anybody know what Carthaginian general Hannibal? Oh, they're talking about
Yeah.
Hannibal the
long time ago.
Okay.
Lecter?
No.
No.
I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't
Hannibal.
want to sound stupid.
Who's Hannibal
Oh.
Buress? I don't know who. That's a person, right?
That's
Yeah,
a
it's a-
comedian, right?
He's an actor, I think.
Okay, fantastic.
Oh no, he is.
I don't know
comedian, right?
people.
Yeah, I think so.
I literally just guessed that. I mean, I was like, I know the name. Hannibal Buress is a thing, right? So it says Apple preemptively
See
bought.
Nick in the camera.
Exactly. Can you see him?
Yeah.
Hannibal, based
not
on the
on
life.
our camera.
Okay. So then it says Apple preemptively bought it with the Creed 2 helmer Stephen J. Cappell attached to direct. They recently worked on Transformers: Rise of the Beast for Paramount Pictures, which will probably be good because it's not a Michael Bay Transformers movie, even though I love those movies. Okay. So there's been a clamor and speculation for Jordan to play the Man of Steel, but it is unclear whether he might star in this one. At this point, he will executive produce along. Okay, so he's not necessarily starring in it. He's executive producing it, and it says Jordan will certainly fill out the spandex admirably. Stephen J. Augusto of SVP Television for Outlier Society will also oversee the project. So I think the goal is to have him star in the project. He has the star
Okay.
power to fill it
Oh,
out.
that's cool. So he'll be both in DC and Marvel, which is not his first time doing that.
I don't think he's. I think his character died in Black Panther, right?
Did he?
Yes.
I don't
Well,
know.
I
he-
asked. I was being polite. He did.
Oh, that's sweet of you. But he also played
Killmonger. He played Killmonger.
Yeah,
in-
but he also played as the reboot of Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four. You
we
remember?
don't talk about that.
Oh,
We don't talk about Fan Four Stick. We don't talk about Fan Four Stick. So basically, would you guys end up seeing those movies? I don't know if you guys are big comic book movie fans or comic book fans.
I know you are.
I'm really not.
Oh shit.
No, not for me either.
No.
My
But-
bad. It's anime, right? That you.
No.
Oh.
I don't really watch movies. I like horror movies.
Ooh.
Is there any good horror movies that have come out lately?
No,
No.
No.
not really.
Unless you want to watch the new Chucky series that's on Sci-Fi.
No, not really.
Mm.
Okay, well, that's. I mean, the goal, the point of what I'm trying to make is like it's like you can do these things right and get the fans to actually back you if you
Yeah.
do it properly and you pay respect to the source material.
Well,
So,
Michael B. Jordan, I feel like he can't do anything wrong.
he is a very charismatic dude,
Mm-hmm.
and he seems to be. He's kind of like a Henry Cavill.
Who's Henry Cavill again?
He plays Superman,
Oh, original.
the new Superman. He plays Superman now.
Oh.
He's also in The Witcher.
Oh, my bad.
That's another bad series. Sorry.
You-
Well, have you seen season 2 trailer?
No.
You
Oh.
don't. You didn't like The Witcher?
No. Why would I?
No.
I only watch stuff with Nicolas Cage in it.
That's
But
great. We need
You
to
don't
watch
say.
The Ghost Rider.
Henry Cavill made a point when crappy journalists tried to bring up toxic fans at like an interview, and he's
Mhm.
like, they're not toxic, they're passionate about the property. So he like backed the fans, which if you guys, like I said, you guys don't really follow celebrity stuff. Celebrities basically hate their fans in current year. Like at least that's the vibe a lot of people get. Is like they
Yeah.
look down upon them. So to have somebody stick up for the fans is like a
Yeah,
big deal.
That's really good.
Peasants.
Passionate about the project.
Yeah.
Passionate about the property. That's really good. You know.
They don't hate you for making Star Wars unwatchable. They hate you because or they don't hate you because you're of a different ethnicity or because they picked new directors. They hate you because you took an established property and ruined it.
Yep.
So,
Interesting.
all right. Well, I think that's what we're going to cover today. I think Nick was shooing us onward. So
Yeah, he said time's up.
time's up. Miracle, you have no social media shout outs. So you just want to tell everybody goodbye.
Yeah, bye you guys. Have a good day. I sleepy.
Brian,
Yeah, I'm pretty tired too, but I'm at OG Helmsway, OG_Helmsway on Instagram, and also
The tweeters?
I'm not really on Twitter just yet. I just use that for information gathering.
makes
Nice.
sense. Carter.
Yeah, you can follow me at on Instagram at CarterBanks4L, like for life.
Aww.
And that's it.
For
I
life.
have a Twitter. It's Carter Banks.
Do you
and
use
that's-
it? Do you use it much?
He also
I'm
has
trying
a
to start
YouTube
again.
channel.
Oh, I do have a YouTube channel, but I don't know what the extension is. Oh,
It's
follow
Carter
my music
Banks.
at We Are Traveler. TRAVLR
Okay.
is the name of the band.
All right. And I am Brett Dasovic. You can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic. I hate social media, but there it is. So thank you guys for joining me today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for having me on.
And we'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Bye.
Hell yeah.
And we is out.